And hey there, it's me Mudlink and welcome back to some more The Greatest Attorney Adventures. So last time, we finished off the investigation. And, it was a very fucking amazing fourth part for that investigation. We got to see how much this case really connects back to the omnibus murder. We ended up finding out pretty obviously that Miguel did really to kill that guy. So we let a murderer walk free. But now Gina finally accepted us, so now we can take her case. And this case is gonna get fucking nuts. So anyway, let's go. When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. So began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, in the fancy dress. Susato, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You're alright with that, are you? Are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Miss Susato and I won't meet again. One day. Even so. But you, Gina. You only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning to you. Good morning, you two. I forgot who was coming in. Good morning, you two. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep? Look at the water guy. Wow. Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Waggy! Okay, ready to show you support, kitty. I'm having nose around. What I'm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny? Well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Now, I always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? The bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover, and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port. Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, should be able to make up the time later. Well, yeah, that is good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkeys, really. Only all good news cancelled out the bad. And look, this trial's made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes and pick-purse plunder. See? How'd you like that? Well, let them say what they want. See if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Runo will show everyone that this headline is nonsense. I will. And then in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be... This charger diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runo? Yes. Let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? It's like she was still here. Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering is all. About Holmes. Did they fix him up alright? Yes, the operation was a great success. But Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No Susato-san and no Mr. Holmes. It's all down to me today, to prove that Gina is innocent of his crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way into the courtroom. It's time then. Yes, let's go, Gina. Iris. Lead the way, Runo. Oh, I'm just shaking something. There you go. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Back here in this courtroom. And look who it is, more jurors that we recognize. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zieks. My lord, remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today, you choose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy, that cheat the public at large. He means Mr. McGilder, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out, thank you. Magnus McGilder, if I'd known what a monster he was, and never would have defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies, only to effect total betrayal in their final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East, the Nipponese. What? Did he really just say that? He means you now, Runo. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal. What are you talking about? A torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zieks' eyes. Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? Alarming, scathing explanation, Lord Van Zieks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Your lordship is too kind. Now, George, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Yeah, random. Hence why fucking John Garrideb's there. Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely everything, and I'm ready for it. I don't understand. I can't have left it in there. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible. What could I have? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Is something wrong, Bruno? Just checking something. Oh, not exactly. It's just... I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know. So I've been led to believe. But something tells me I'm being duped. Very well, Lord Van Zeeks. The court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. The victim, Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. As the court will observe, there's a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. Oh. That person... I'm gonna need water. That's for damn sure. This voice kills me. Alright, I'm back. Got my water. The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand him to the bailiff, please. There you go. There's the autopsy. And the crime scene photograph. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry, a door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only two persons present. The victim, Mr. Windybank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. Well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the East End. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive. My Lord Nipponese, friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pickpocket or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. Court will take the full pen and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, my Lord Van Zeeks. At once, my lord. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Bruno. I think that's because it has. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windybank on 16th of April of this year. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is baddie. Professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's same as him. Vice Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. Well, we're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. What are you looking at me for? Don't let me in with you lot. Cold blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our oldest bruv. Lost contact with him we have. So it's going every shady corner of the capital. And then last night we came across you. We come across you, the very spit of a bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is. The very spit of him. So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call you Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two. Sulky's skulking. And that's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in the witness stand. Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on the suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they? These three? No, my lord. Begging your pardon. Please don't let me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these 2 brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle, and in the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say, what an extraordinary coincidence! Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Order, order! Various trespasses of these brothers are not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question and what exactly you saw. Happy to. Because the Skulkin's never skulking. Get out of it. We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gas door was ajar, see? I really don't know. I'm gonna fucking mix up their voices, so I don't fucking know what to do with their voices. It was like some kind of sign begging for us to go in. It was. But once we got inside, call blammy lammy. We heard a gunshot from the back room. We went in to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment, these miscreants entered the property, and even more sinister, a crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom for the main shop was indeed locked from the inside. And within only the victim and the accused were found. I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. So the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel? Yes. What's the matter, Uno? Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that's all nonsense because I know it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is. Anyway, there's an achievement here. It's a little weird to do, so I'm not gonna voice act any of this stuff. I'm not gonna voice act this right now. What you do? Mr. Ringo Skulkin, do you have something to add? When one of the brothers talks, then you pursue the other one. Mr. Ringo Skulkin, do you have something to add? What? Something that was said just now appears to have got you thinking. Oh, well, yeah. I was just thinking about me bruv, Sulky. Oh, the one who you've lost touch with. Yeah, blimey. It could be a sign sometimes, that one. Always used to give me a share of his grub when we had anything to eat. He sounds like a very kind man. Get out of it! These chips are mine, I'm not sharing! And then press this and do it for the other brother. Then you get the an achievement. Mr. Nash Skulkin, do you have something to add? What? What? Something that was said just now appears to have got you thinking. Ah, well, yeah. I was just thinking about me bruv, Sulky. Oh, the one you've lost touch with? Yeah, God, he could be a rotten nasty piece of work sometimes, that one. Always used to nab me share of the grub when we had anything to eat. He does sound like a very mean man. Oi, what are you looking at me for, sunshine? So that's how you get the achievement. It's fucking hilarious. Anyway, let's do this. The front door of the Windy Banks was ajar, you say. What time of night was this? Must have been about 1. Right, Ringo. Right, Ringo. Right, oh, I gotta say so. Right, Sulky. How would I know? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it's pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo? I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky? Me old mucker? Leave me alone. There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused Miss Gina Lestrade already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim. That is pure conjecture. Perhaps, but it changes nothing. Perhaps, but it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside. Right, that's what happened. And you gotta press all those statements anyway for this. What are you trying to suggest? That you have to go in? Well, God moves in mysterious ways, they say, don't they, Ringo? They do, Dash, they do. Must have been some sort of providence, I reckon. God's will often presents itself as the whim of thieves, does it? It wasn't no whim. I'm dead sure of that. It weren't, Nash. It weren't. Like we said at the time. You don't just find doors open in the middle of the night like that. Nah, there's no two ways about it. It was a sign that a long-lost brother was inside. They're not very good lies, are they? Well, you can't deny it. We let us to a bloke what looks just like our bruv. I said, cut it out! Those chips are getting a chomping today. A gunshot, you say, just the one. Are you sure about that? Yep, just the one, governor. I can swear to that. It was, Nash, it was. Ain't that right, bruv? Firearm used belonged to the victim himself. Yes, Mr. Windybank always used to leave his gun lying around on the counter. Right, I remember. When we examined it, we found the revolver was completely out of rounds. That makes sense. Mr. Windybank always used to say he only ever kept a single bullet loaded. That's true. I remember him saying that as well. So we can say with considerable certainty that only a single round was discharged from the firearm used as the murder weapon. Yes, my lord, we can. And I should remind the court that the firearm in question was discovered in the hand of the accused. Wonderful. Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my lord friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there's only one door, that of the storeroom. Of course, there was only a little oil lamp burning. Not much to see by. And the door was in behind a curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think. Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo. Well, Nash, yeah. I suppose you'd have to say we ain't normal, eh? Broadly speaking, humans respond in one of two ways on hearing a gunshot or scream. The timid flee, gripped by fear, or the courageous investigate to see if they might help. These gentlemen are of the latter inclination. My Lord Nipponese friend, it would seem, is of the former. Alright, somehow it just proved that I was a coward that night. Thank you, counsels. So I believe that we all understand that the door was locked and could not be opened. Proceed, witnesses. You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out me Lucy lockets. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left, nice and quietly, you say. That's right, governor. Nothing we wait more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers, we are, not bludgers. We are, Nash, we are. Never even pulled me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So you'd clearly like us to believe. Eh? Come again? As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saint alive, they fired a gun, you say? Ah! Blimey, governor. You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway? It was. Why, the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes. Shot the great Mr. Holmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital. The great Holmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. Now, my Lord Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are the telltale signs of spent powder on this gun, and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial. Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there. However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired that gun before they left Windybanks that night. The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night? The evidence is in this portfolio. What? What on earth have you there, counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains. Not trusting the police to do the job they're trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have the evidence the court is demanding therein. Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in your portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? What is that? Explain. It's a photographic print taken at Windybank's pawnbroker on the day of the incident. The scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged in there. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windybank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight. This indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. That's right. And while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Ah! Order. How does the prosecution stand? How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zieks? If that is the direction my learned Nepalese friend wishes to take, the prosecution has no objection. What? But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust their repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, those brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Huh? Take it easy there, governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We gotta do you. You aren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I've nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zieks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nepalese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zieks? As it's been established at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brother's gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Holmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windybank at all. So that's it. That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Ash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. Quite a catalogue, eh, fellas? Word for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with this? Mr. Holmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh! That's one of Hurley's right-handed recorders. What is that, counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised. Oh, fuck. Why did I lose the voice? Oh my god, I'm losing all the voices except for Renosuke's. It's just because it's my voice. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. I thought it was only every 10 minutes. Or every 5 minutes. I guess I was wrong. Or maybe... No, I could have sworn they said 5 minutes. Whatever. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. As the court will observe, copies identical prints are produced in a quite desultory fashion. Ugh. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, the respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera. That's a bit of fraud talk, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a skulking. Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin? Must have been just after 1. Right, bruv? Must have been, Nash, must have been. Yeah, just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. What scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good lord! It's a defendant! Miss Gina Lestrade. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter, no doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. Quite. One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you please, counsel. Ugh! I don't believe it! Ginny! In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly killed Mr. Windybank. Ah! Oh, Lord, have mercy. I say, my lord. Why did I already forget what fucking John Garrett's voice sounds like? I wonder if I might put in a word at this moment. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bullet to the knee in the Battle of my Wand, 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, the medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see, the battle of daily life, if you like. Here I am now, leading this small squadron, 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words, one for all and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Oh, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That's the Garrett Squadron's position, sir. What? No, it's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report for the court, men. On the double. His lordship insists on a promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions, too. I think you'll find the truth is as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop. I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leading in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court. I have little mousy friend. Judge appear indeed that the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph! It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Very well. The court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. Hang on. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, You will explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocket Tien. Pickpocket Tien. I don't know how you. That's like barely even a fucking word. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at the photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I have left it in there, I should think there will be repercussions by now. Mind made up, stop. Global radio transmission and verdict to follow, stop. In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced, I am convinced brothers are innocent. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone, and in the accused's hand the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Take it from a chap who has seen action on the battlefield. The young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Holmes. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. Oh dear, Mr. Hurley's... Let me read that again. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras are supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. Which means there's more to this situation than we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Press all of them, although the fifth juror we gotta wait for to press. So we'll press all of them except for her. You're Mr. Natsume's landlord, Mr. Garrett, aren't you? We really must stop meaning like this. Ah, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn up for the books. Yes, rather a turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Holmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I don't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything. Can't be denied, I suppose. The curse of the Garrett house was the talk of the town after that business. I just moved out and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh. I haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet. Bad enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did do rather a lot, but not for us, that's for dash it certain. I suppose not. Of course. There can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards guilty here, obviously. But honestly, I really wish you'd paid more attention to the trial, and less to the juror number 2. Oh yeah, I didn't even realize he's blushing at the fucking maid next to him. He misses his Joan. Polishing the bench, I see. Again. Maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my word to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpockets, and crossmen. The scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps? Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rat's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London's streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Holmes, a maid? It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail. It was the 2 brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Holmes, not the defendant. Minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, alright. I shall amend my statement. Oh, it doesn't really matter too much here. Pressing it again. I'll press it just to see what she says. I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Holmes was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windyback. Bank. Afraid you're splitting hairs, sir. Sorry? Whether it was the thieves or the pick purse, we still gutter trash who shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion. Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind it isn't going to be easy. Bruno, it was one of those two brothers that shot Hurley, wasn't it? Yes, without question. Well then, I'll never forgive them. Oh, Iris. Perhaps we can use this maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think? Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. Yeah, it's telling you, you gotta pit this against someone else. What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo? Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously. But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Oh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that in stereoscope, that the stereoscope is here to stay, giving us new perspectives we can only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. If only you could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you. What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that. Ah, so sorry. As you could probably tell, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country are considered to be doctors. Oh no! Even though me and my kind are the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field. So what is it that you think you left behind? Oh well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished... When I finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? Did he? Surely not. Exactly. Surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter. That's exactly my concern. And seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on trying to remember what exactly I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, sure as you can be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure. See, that's the guy from the last case. Please tell me you're not Villain Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary. Revolutionary? Duh, I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor? As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. It looks like a vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat. And which glove fits? Good day, I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time. It is very painful. People do not realize. I saw much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look. The Skulkin brothers? Duh, maybe they went inside pawnbroker shop. But they have done nothing wrong. This is all I want to say. The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Runa? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is it that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. But we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. So we need to find contradictions of what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. Let's ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, now we gotta do pit 2 and 6. Those 2 statements clearly contradict each other. Good lord, counsel, explain yourself. Oh my statement? Contradictory. C-O-N. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick, I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skullduggery brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from the revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Holmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen, A, B, D. Sir? Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Forgive me, I did not hear. Here is the word, abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. Is that what you mean? You should say in plain English. I am Russian, not a native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? We said before, we never done anything. We never done nothing. But the truth is, they shot detective. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like a criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now! It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir. I must see with my own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid I won't be Yes, it is, Rooney. Easily. Sorry. With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Gooey. Mr. Prosecutor. Tut, calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop. Is this one? Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skullduggery brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then? As far as I can tell. Nothing has been taken. It does seem to be the case. Can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes? Good. No, not good! You were right. I did not understand the situation, but now I know brothers have lied, and I think it is very important to continue with trial. Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting. Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. If I can do that, we might just turn the situation in our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with your summation examination. Kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication with Far East nations used to take place by mail. Royal mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cable on the ocean bed? Makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You're well informed, young lady. Hehe. The cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. Just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airways to four corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Air wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What other piffle? I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Juror number 3? Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do! Say that again. Go on. I dare you. Goodness. Are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yeah? Yes? You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you? Huh? Absolutely. I mean, really. A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions. Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all three-dimensional. What a great way to appease a man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know! Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously gonna have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope? Fuck yeah. How about this print here? Should do the trick, I think. Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can! Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just give me one more. Just give me one more print and I'll amaze you. All right. These 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windy Banks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and the right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together inside your head, it notices a shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important. So what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene 3-dimensionally anyway. Oh! Of course, now I see. Oh, I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have! Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on! I love... They just have a fucking model of the character crossing their damn eyes. Can you see there's a really obvious difference between them? Of course, there's 2 people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions. Alright, I'll give it a go. So, to start with, to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each other overlap in the middle. Wait. Oh, did you manage to see it properly, Bruno? What's going on with these 2 pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump at you. Even the judge crossed his eyes. But yeah, you don't get to see Brock Von Zieks crossing his eyes. That'd be funny though. Yes, that's it. You see, that's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump at you like that, hmm? I think you'll find that, if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope. As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It is the slight shifts in the positions of certain objects that let you see pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their positions. Yes, there must have been. Now hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What, me? Having the first idea. You know, Runo, it's quite simple. It is? Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 AM. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some of the items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zuckers! Barry the platypus. That's what it sounded like for a second there. Zuckers! Someone tampered? New information. Stop. Not mentioning testimony so far. Stop. Yes, we've had to go around in circles a little here, but it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in the summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. I didn't see, it wasn't any extra dialogue there. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting that you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who's responsible for the almost imperceptible shifts in the items on the countertop. Oh shit, what the fuck was that? You can choose either one of them. It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skullduggery brothers. Wait. This does not agree with what brother said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes out from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands, and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. Well, is this another lie? Is that what you're saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. Now, hold on a minute, you can't be sure of that. I quite agree, the accused is a common pick purse after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why, exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windyback to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. Skullduggery brothers have admitted key facts in their testimony. The accused is a pick purse. Common gutter trash. Why look any further for their wrongdoing here? For the wrongdoer here? Because the Skullduggery brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact, worse than a pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair. Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop. Alright, I'm back, sorry. We'll assume this trial is yet to run its course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. Sorry. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue. Yay, well done. Oh, by the way. What? You should hold on to this, Reno. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. Lord Van Zix, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord. I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night, at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. To be continued. There we go. That's part 1 of 4. Yeah, this trial's fucking long. This is like the short part of the trial. Well, yeah. So what we show with this trial is that this crime scene was tampered with after the fact. That's really about it, honestly. I still like this trial, but I mean, for part 1, it kind of does stretch out just a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't too long, actually. Even with me pressing all, like, you have to press all the statements anyway, and then I pressed the additional statements too, so it being an hour long, yeah, I guess it wasn't too long, but still. There's a lot more to uncover with this. So, yeah, next time on the Grady's Attorney Adventures, we're going to be continuing with this trial, hearing more from the Skulkin brothers, and I don't know how much further into the trial will end up being after this episode, for the next episode, but I mean, I'm guessing about like maybe halfway done with the part 2 trial, because it is kind of long. At least I don't know. I'll have to see. Anyway, see you guys next time. Take care.